A powerful private equity firm dedicated $1 billion to my plans. That opened up a can-do spirit in me. I was blind to many of the larger forces that were at work, though. I was vulnerable. I was unschooled in protecting myself from the legal and financial maneuvers that would be used against me as I executed the plans I made. I survived because I combined the discipline of a Marine with the humanity of a healer. A mystic warrior was born. I'd heard and read of blending courage and vulnerability. Needing to blend courage and vulnerability, the masculine and the feminine, to survive this extraordinary circumstance has defined my life. I'm Roach. Mark Roach. And I'm here to help you get what you want and need and to understand the difference. The games we make up for ourselves and each other do not always nurture our spirit. The games in life are built on survival and dominance. The sooner you can identify these components in your life, the better. Then it takes wisdom and finesse to walk through the game, through the fire, with your spirit intact. And I'll give you 5 tools in this video to survive. There's a scene from a 1970-ish Indian documentary where a group of people are in a small room at an ashram in India, where Osho, the guru, is leading them into their primal nature. There's fighting, there's suffering, there's moaning and reckless sex. These people were deliberately pursuing an exploration of their shadow, their dark side, in an attempt to get clarity. When you've been failed by institutions, or maybe your church, or maybe a neglected maybe neglected by a member of your family, or someone in a position of authority or power, maybe a priest, a doctor, a friend, or it even could be a famous person who you idolized, or it could be a boss, or someone who can impact your access to more money. If you feel betrayed, then you may feel there's nowhere to turn. And in fact, this can happen to you very quietly. You can make a bad decision and find yourself stuck with something or someone or some circumstance that you didn't expect when you made your commitment. Maybe it's a person, maybe it's a job. And it often takes time for a problem to surface, for you to see that your deeper needs are being neglected, or that they're totally misaligned with a person or a job or a circumstance that you've sincerely committed your life to. So then you feel rage. You feel these primal feelings, these things that you're not allowed to feel or express in our society. So you suppress them and you pat yourself on the back for not acting out on them. You suppress these feelings and you may not feel like anyone understands, and you may not even try to communicate them to anyone else. You may not even be aware yourself of the rage and the atrocity of suppressing what your spirit was really hoping to do in a circumstance and then settling for something much less. So then you may find yourself using substitutes in your life for what's missing. Like you don't find self-respect from what you're doing anymore, but rather than taking action or taking a new direction that would honor your spirit and release you from the prison of the rage that is building up inside of you, you just continue to suppress those feelings and that rage. Your spirit is wanting freedom, but you don't know how to find it. So you take that promotion. You buy that fancier car or home. You stick with the pretty person in your relationship or the thing that makes your life easier. And you pat yourself on the back and celebrate your victories in the material world or in the world of social acceptance and make that your guiding light. Meanwhile, your spirit is suffering below. And you just justify staying in this situation that you know is dishonorable to your spirit. I'll deal with that someday, tomorrow, or at this point in time when society might allow you to deal with it. So when you wake up to this game that you're playing, you may just want to know how to use the discipline of an honorable warrior and the courage of a talented mystic to navigate these feelings without ignoring them, without suppressing them, and honoring the passion inside of you. So here's 5 tactics that you might consider using that I found very helpful for me. Number 1, build a routine. Our primal nature needs structure. That may sound so simple, but it could be an exercise program. It could be, within a relationship that you build some communication channels that you're going to use routinely with your partner or with friends and family to put some structure and to build in some necessary respect for these aspects of your primal needs. And you have to be honest with each other about these needs and honor them, at least to communicate them and to get them out into the open. And it could be something as simple as journaling every day to make sure that you're recognizing and taking an inventory of what's going on inside of you. And within that routine, number 2, you have to allow yourself some freedom to examine yourself. You have to let yourself explore in ways that you're not taught to explore yourself in the classroom or in life or in these other parts of our lives where we have these rigorous rules and expectations of ourselves and each other. So give yourself some freedom to really explore what's going on inside of yourself that others may just give you a little notice of here and there, and that you've always wanted to know more about. So explore those parts of yourself. And then number 3 is be patient. If you're expecting a solution, or if you've already committed your heart to one way out of this situation that's rigorous, that may not be the best path. So you've got to be patient with yourself. And I encourage you to also to document your progress, because these steps may not happen overnight. It may take some time for your body to release the tension that it's been trained for survival to hold. And once you've allowed that freedom that your spirit is really calling for, and you document this, those little steps will help you recognize that you are indeed making progress, even though others in your world, in your life, may not see it yet. Internally, you're starting to build this reconnection with your inner life, with your spirit. And as you're doing this, step 4 is look for the exceptions to the rules. Look for those things that make you discomfortable or uncomfortable, that cause discomfort. Those things may actually be the places that your spirit is looking for expression. And when they're done inside of you internally, there's no consequences in the world necessarily. You explore this stuff in your own inner life where it's safe and where the circumstances don't demand consequences that might not be accepted in the world. But you can play this game internally in your inner life, examine it, and look for the deeper components that begin to come to you. And that's where the mystic work, the healing really happens. And that's when you start to realize that God and the Spirit around us can help us find these key components and unlock the chasm that may have created a lot of these prisons in our lives. And then number 5 is when you find these small things that help you unlock your spirit and give you access to the things that were causing you to suppress your feelings or to commit to things that were making your life even more miserable. Celebrate those things. Identify those things as your uniqueness. And then I'll challenge you, or actually you may find that it's not a challenge at all because it feels so incredible to be finding ways to use that uniqueness in your everyday life and to begin to appreciate that. Often those things are things you may have actually been criticized at one point in your life in the past. They could have been things that someone did notice that you've never explored, and they may be a strength that are going to lead you to making the friends, creating the circumstances that you've really, really longed for in your life, and find satisfaction and success and an enrichment in your life that you've really longed for. So you can do this. These pathways are in you. They are in you, or you wouldn't be here today. I'm Roach, Mark Roach, wishing you all the best.